Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, and I look at lots of different kinds of teas. Today I'm looking at a SFTGFOP, and we'll talk about what all those letters can mean as far as Indian black teas. I'm going to go ahead and get this one started. So I'm going to open it up here. Got out my spoon. I've got out a tasting cup, which is a little bit different from the usual Chinese style Gaiwan, but I thought, hey, let's. This is often used by professional tasters in India, used on estates to determine whether the tea has been processed the way they want it, to get it just right before they put it out on the market. So it looks good, or send it to auction even. So that's a good amount. I've covered basically, I'm not following how they're not universally accepted standards and practices here. I used enough to cover the bottom surface of my tasting cup here. It's about a 3 to 4 ounce, I believe, if I remember correctly. And I'm pouring in enough water. Water's been brought to a low boil, so it started to rumble. Now I took it off. It's been cooling for about a minute or so, and I added enough water to sit just below my opening there. That's going to be my pouring area there. So I'm going to set that aside, let that steep for a minute, talk about this tea. This is from DarjeelingTeaXpress. This is a first flush. DarjeelingTeaXpress is the estate DarjeelingTeaXpress China Special. You can find 10 grams, a 10 gram sample available for $4. Again, this is a first flush. Not only can you get information about the flush, as in what season or what harvest period it was collected, but you can also get information about which lot or which sequence in the harvest process. Like they may be able to go through a series and the workers are able to collect the load in that first day or so. They may be able to come by in the next day or so, and some leaves have matured a little bit more, and they're plucked that second lot, for example. So you can get varieties in that aspect that are recorded. And this, like I said, is a SFTGFOP1 is the grade as its grade, and I believe that stands for Special Fancy Tippy Golden Flowery Orange Pecco number 1. Okay, so talking about this tea, the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. Let's get into that. First off, first flushes generally get more stronger fruit, floral type notes, so I still get a fairly good muscat grape type of smell. Along with that, I'm getting a little bit of a smoother rose type of smell coming in underneath that. And so comparing it with other first flushes, this one is not as sharp. Like I'm saying, it's smoother. It's how should I say? It's not just it's more mellow, I guess is the best way to say. These are gentler, more rounded, softer type aroma notes that are coming off. So looking at these leaves, I don't get a lot just in scoops, and as I look down in the bag here, a lot of very large size leaves. I do see what looks like 1 inch. I have some 1 inch in length size leaves that look like they are whole or mostly whole. I see some that are, of course, smaller than that, so I would say up to 1 inch. I see a lot of portions. I see portions that are bright green. Even towards of a brighter, gentler looking or more tender looking yellow green. I see what looks like connections there. Yeah, I can actually see 1 or 2 here that are actually where leaf pairs or leaf sets that are connected. I see what looks to be some needles as well. I see some kind of silvery fuzz. And then again, I still have that kind of that seal brown, that grayish brown type color. And if I had to put a ratio to it, I would say it's a little bit of a, probably 40 or so percent of the darker gray, brown gray. A little bit of the rust type color that's kind of in between. Say maybe 20%, another 20%, 20-30% of the 20-30% of the green, with some of the needles in there, in with that upper portion of green as well. So not 100% as far as totals go, if I remember what I just said, but still you're getting a large portion of that grayish type color, a grayish brown type color, with the others transitioning it up to the less than 10% of the needle aspect. So without digging into that too much further, I'm going to get ready to pour this so we can talk a little bit about the wet leaf. So I'm going to angle my, I'm going to kind of make sure my lid that has a hole in it, that hole is over towards the handle side. I want to put my finger there and give it a nice swift pour as quickly as possible, so that my water doesn't dribble down the side of the cup. That's the concern here. I want to flow smoothly into my pitcher here. And let me kind of dry that off for just a second and dab any wet spots there. Now I'll talk about this wet leaf. Let me get a smell here. Still the musket type smell. Again, gentler than some of the others first flushes that I've tasted, especially recently. More softer rose type, old English rose, traditional rose type smells, rose perfume, rose oil type smells. That's the kind of smells that are coming out here. Let me use this cup to display the wet leaf there. Shake them out onto the lid. That looks good. And set them here. And as we noted in the dry leaf, you get a lot of leaf portions here. So as this is consistent with that, they've lightened up. You're getting brighter olive green, olive drab type colors here. Leaf portions that are mostly nearly full leaves in several cases. You still see the blotches of rust and rust red type colors where the oxidation has taken place on these leaf portions here. A lot of them are the lighter green, or this brighter, deep, rich type of green color. I do have bits here and there that are more fully rust in color, while a lot of the majority that are green have kind of a dappled or just little specks of rust oxidation here and there. A little bit of stem I find here and there just occasionally, but yeah, for the most part that really covers the aspect of the wet leaf. Move on now. We talked about this liquor. Let me give this a swirl for just a second, so that we can see what's actually in this pitcher a little bit more easily. A nice amber type of color there, but leaning a little bit more towards an orangey color than say a red. It's more orange than say an apple juice type color. Again, musket smell, mellower, more mature fruit type of grape smells coming off at this point. Let's give it a pour. Looking down, again, still good color, brightness, not dull, flat, murky. Yeah. First flushes have a bit more, say compared to a second flush, more astringent bite to it, a bit more of a briskness, a bit more of a puckeriness to it. What I'm finding here is also that It does have the floral component to it. It does have that muscat grape type aspect, more so of the muscat grape type. Again, with the astringency there, with the briskness rather. I don't want to say it's overly drying in the mouth, especially after in the aftertaste as you get there. It gets kind of, you don't get this feeling that your mouth is about to dry up and start cracking. It's more of a jammy, gummy, sticky type of feel, that there's a sweetness building up in response to the taste that's just washed over the tongue and your palate there. So that's a positive note. Good, it's kind of a sticky, sweet aftertaste. Still has the aroma there, and that muscat grape type of aspect still is residing there. So it doesn't drop off. It carries on fairly well. The real challenge here is to talk about how this aroma and taste on the front, middle of the mouth compared to others. And this one, I would say, it hits the tongue. I mean, you feel this sticky sweetness, as if it's like a lightly watered down honey kind of texture that hits on the mouth, and that balances, that kind of draws out, makes you more aware of this again, a mellower, like a more mature grape. Maybe a little bit of that rose underneath there as well, rose oil type of smell, taste going on. So this one's just a little more, a little smoother, a little more rounded than some others that I've looked at. So if I were to talk about this tea, and giving it a score, I'm going to say a 92. Nice qualities, again, rounded, mellow, but robust, not harsh, and especially lasting in the aftertaste. It still has a nice jammy, sweet, gooey type of feel in the mouth in the aftertaste, and that's I'm responding well to that. I'll say it that way. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find out the teas that you respond well to.